Welcome back to another TSTerra Plays Tera video. In today's video, we finally are going to reach our goal of hitting level 65 with the brawler that I've been leveling up. So if you made it this far, congratulations. I really appreciate anyone that's been watching this series. I've had a lot of fun making it, and I'm honestly really glad it's finally over, because now I can start diving into a lot more videos. Stuff to help people who are 65, dungeon guides, stuff that I've been wanting to do, but I've been putting off because I've been working on this series. And I do apologize to viewers who have been waiting for higher level content, and I try to throw in a few, rampaging Arcanine video here and there, and some stuff, the Shadow Hunter brooch, to just help people who are already 65, because I mentioned I wanted to do that. But this series has taken a lot more out of with editing and the voiceover, so I do fully apologize. Please stay tuned, as we will be getting into way more level 65 and up content after this. And I do want to show off the Apex questline, which will be the next video. But before we get into all of that, basically in this video, where we start is at level 60. And you'll notice 60 is not high enough to go into Sabex armor anymore. For whatever reason, you can instance match it, but if you try to just walk in it yourself or with a group, it will tell you no. So I never got the cue to actually pop to test what happens, but I'm gonna assume the game either just throws you in or it just kicks you out of the group or just will not queue. I'm not too sure, but for whatever reason, you need to be 61 now. So in the last video, if you watched me fighting those ice giants, you can either do that till you're 61. I believe you can do Ebon Tower and Kelsaic's Nest, or if you know you can dish out damage and block well, like a brawler, you can fight these ads in High Watch. It works just as well. Basically, just keep doing stuff to get that last bit of XP from 60 to 61. If you have a level 1 scroll, you can use it. That gives you 1 extra level. I highly suggest keep them for this part, because the developers didn't think this through. Usually you walk into Sabex at 60 and you go through it. Another thing in this video you'll see coming up is me fighting in Sabex, and you'll notice I solo it. This is only because I'm a brawler. I highly suggest any other class, maybe if you're a priest you can get away soloing it, do not solo it. It takes a while. Yes, you'll get decent XP if you can kill everything, but it truly does take a while, and at this point, you can start bringing level 65s in with you. It might remove some XP if you were to do it by yourself, even though, yes, there's joy of partying. It's kind of a little misleading, and I'll show that when I do Catacombs, because I also solo Catacombs by myself, which, as you see, I got very frustrated on, I believe, the 3rd boss. So, if you are a brawler, go ahead and solo Sabex. It's not the end of the world. Make sure you have some health pots, make sure you know the class pretty well. You can solo it. Catacombs you can also solo, I just suggest don't. There are plenty of 65 players that will literally come and take less than an hour out of their day to run you through it 4 times at most, I believe, to get you your last 2-3 levels. So, as we get into those dungeons, you'll see, basically I'll showcase them. If you haven't gotten a character to 65 yet, this is the final steps, and at the very, very end, I'll do a brief setting of my gear, but I highly suggest that you check out brawler guides to really set your gear. I will also be releasing a brawler guide throughout the series. You've probably noticed, he's upgrading his skills, he's placing them on his hotbar, I'm doing, adding my glyphs here and there as I go. That's all stuff that I highly suggest you as viewers, you as new players, new brawler players, whatever it is, check out some brawler guides. If you can try to find them for console, go ahead. You can try to find some PC ones, but do know if you find anything brand new from PC, it's not going to line up. PC's Apex and console Apex is kind of completely different, as well as they have a lot more different gear set than us. So, but I will be releasing a brawler guide video as well very soon, so please stay tuned for that, along with a few other class guides to help out. And at this point, start doing your research, start trying to figure out your rotation for your class, and especially by the time you do the Apex questline, you want to have that somewhat figured out, so that when you get your Apex skills, you can throw them in, and you'll be in a pretty good spot. The game is pretty nice to new players for their first time. It gives you a lot of decently strong gear. You don't have to do half the work players used to do back in the day, which was a lot. Even me, I was fortunate starting at Twist Shard, or yeah, basically Twist Shard. I was given Twist Shard gear from the game, you know, and now you're giving basically Frost Metal and a free ride through Frost Metal, which again, towards the end of this video, you'll see that. In this portion, I'm now actually doing the Sabex dungeon, so I'm going to stop the voiceover portion, let you enjoy the music, and just watch the dungeon, how it plays through. I'll jump back in on Catacombs to kind of show and give an idea of how the XP changes slightly when you add someone who is 65. But again, as I said, this is a point when you can start doing that finally. Every dungeon before Sabex, you can't do that. It will take away all your XP. You will gain nothing. But in Sabex and above, feel free to. And honestly, it'll make your life a lot easier, and this process will be a lot faster. Of the world, hear this tune, give it a whirl. The time is now to break the trance and do an Apache devil dance. The restless few, filled with power, Frankenstein's of the witching hour. Bloodshot eyes, fatigued and lost, praying for the morning at all costs. The clock strikes 12 and the curtains rise. Another 7 hours of demons in the skies. Yeah, that's right for me. Hey, 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 hey. The sun will rise, but the night is young, and we'll still be up and on the run. Another night of
All the world, hear this tune, give it a whirl. The time is now to break the trance and do an Apache devil dance. Restless few, filled with power, Frankensteins of the witching hour. Bloodshot eyes, fatigued and lost, praying for the morning at all costs. The clock strikes 12 and the curtains rise. Another 7 hours of demons in the skies. Yeah, that's right for me. Hey, 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 hey. The sun will rise, but the night is young, and we'll still be up and on the run. Another night of not counting the sheep. Insomniacs like for me. Insomniacs like for me. Insomniacs. Frustration opens the door as you fall to the incubus floor. In the mind trials of tribulations, Lucius beams inject the sedation. The darkness falls, stars and signs. The further we go into the night, so raise your hands in the air. It's two-step to this night. The clock strikes 12 and the curtains rise. Another 7 hours of demons in the skies. Yeah, that's like for me. Hey, 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 hey. The sun will rise, but the night is young, and we'll still be up and on the run. Another night of not counting the sheep. Insomniacs, insomniacs like for me. Insomniacs, insomniacs like for me. Insomniacs, insomniacs, insomniacs. Welcome to our world. Insomniacs, on the world. Here, let's give you a tour. Insomniacs of the world, hear this tune, give it a whirl. The time is now to break the trance, do an Apache devil dance. The clock strikes 12 and the curtains rise. Another 7 hours of demons in the skies. Yeah, that's right for me. Hey, 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 hey. The sun will rise, but the night is young, and we'll still be up and on the run. Another night of not counting the sheep.
Alright, I am back. As you can see, I've officially hit level 63, which is high enough level, and from the gear I picked up through Sabex, I have plenty enough item score to fast travel over to the catacombs, and I can enter. At this point, you'll see, if you look on the bottom left, every group of enemies I kill, you can see how much experience they give me. And it takes a few seconds, but there you go, they're being killed, and it should be showing the amount of XP I get. I did speed up the video so that it's not, a 3-hour video for once at a dungeon, and I've done that through this whole series just because these videos are pretty lengthy as it is, and there's not really too much content to go over besides enter a dungeon, kill some stuff, get some levels, and exit. I could go over mechanics, but I mean, these are pretty simple, spank and bank. You know, just punch your way through, clear out everything, do as much damage, and you'll see as I'm killing the first boss, literally all I do. Again, a lot of this is due to the fact that I am a brawler. Brawler has frontal defense. I wouldn't suggest an archer go solo this. I wouldn't suggest a sork go solo this. It's a bad idea. Find a few people who can help you do it, and easy clears. But again, you can see I do solo this whole dungeon myself, and do keep a note at that bottom left, because you'll see the amount of XP I'm getting from everything. And towards the end, I do pick someone up. There's a level 65, I think, just chilling outside the dungeon. Saw my LFG willing to help me out, and they were very kind, so shout out to them for making this process a lot faster for me. And as I said, plenty of players would do that. Don't be afraid to ask. Like, if I see you online and I'm not running a dungeon, I will more than gladly jump in and help finish up a character. I won't always do the lower tier ones. I actually try to refuse, just because, again, sure, you get Vanguard XP, but it's not enough in my opinion. That used to be a strat, especially when we had the arenas, just to have a 65, burn the boss down, claim the Vanguard, and move on. But with this new method, it's not worth it. They lowered the Vanguard XP because they didn't want people doing that, and they want you earning it from killing things, which I fully agree with the devs for doing that. 100%. Sure, this is boring, especially if it's your 20th character leveling, but, you know, if you're a new player doing that method, you don't learn as much about the game. I know I was hindered. I had a few people do that for me, and it took a while for me to actually understand how these types of games work. Again, highly suggest play the dungeon in a group. If you can get a few friends to join you, even better. You can all pick a different role and learn the game as you go. Coming up is the boss that gave me the most trouble. I want to say I died about 2 or 3 times to this guy, and yes, I'm able to rise up right there and continue fighting, and I do so by using of gold. This can be done in lower tier dungeons as well. It's just highly suggested not. And yeah, it's a pain, but we managed through. And again, this is the exact reason why if you're any other class, you do not want to do that. But again, keep note of that bottom left. Notice how much I get for bosses. You will notice when there's the extra player that it will have a parentheses if you add them together. That's the total, and the total, I believe, is just a bit short. So yes, you get extra for Joy of Partying, but it also, believe it or not, drops what you would have got. Now, if you add a third person, I believe it gives even more. So having a full group might counter to doing it by yourself. Again, either way, doing it by yourself or doing it with a full group, it's such minimal difference of XP at this point that do it with a group. You'll get it done in the same amount of tries. You won't die. If someone dies, it's not the end of the world. Someone else is there to continue for you. And you'll hit level 65. So, again, I'll be quiet, let you guys watch the video. Please enjoy, and if you've enjoyed all my content up to now, but you're not subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, that's about it.
The darkness falls, stars in signs. The further we go, The clock strikes 12 and the curtains rise. Another 7 hours of demons in the skies. Yeah, that's life for me. Hey, 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 hey. The sun will rise, but the night is young, and we'll still be up and on the run. Another night of not counting the sheep. Insomniacs, Insomniacs, life for me. Insomniacs, Insomniacs, life for me. Insomniacs, Insomniacs, hey. Insomniacs, hey. Insomniacs. Welcome to our world. Insomniacs, hey. On the world, hey. Here, let's give you a tour. Insomniacs of the world, hear this tune, give it a whirl. The time is now to break the trance, do an Apache devil dance. The clock strikes 12 and the curtains rise. Another 7 hours of demons in the skies. Yeah, that's right for me. Hey, 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 hey. The sun will rise, but the night is young, and we'll still be up and on the run. Another night of not counting the sheep. Insomniacs life.
I am back again, and as you can see, finally hit level 65. So this is the end of this series. Do you know once you hit level 65, it's gonna give you a lot of stuff. Lots of upgrades, lots of messages, congratulations, congrats, you finally hit 65. You are now actually able to do the more fun part of the game. Before that, you want to go speak to that man Dougal. He's going to give you a bunch of gear. Anything you've gotten up to that gear, you can get rid of. Go ahead, sell it, dismantle it, do whatever you want. That's what you see me doing here. Basically clearing out my inventory of almost everything. You will want to maybe keep some gems, keep some level up stuff for other characters if you decide. I got rid of it all because I just don't care. And then you want to equip all the gear Dougal gave you. He's going to give you all frost metal gear as of now. And you can see I'm going through and setting my rolls up. Feel free. If you're a brand new brawler, these are the rolls you want to go with. I haven't gotten huge in depth, but pick these rolls. They will give you the best survivability, the best damage output. Just in general, this is a solid starting base for any new brawler. And for most characters, you're going to want to pick close to these rolls. There's a few changes, a slight few changes for if you're a DPS, big changes if you're a healer. But again, that's where I suggest go find a guide. Go find another Tera console guide. If I have them uploaded and you've gone into this series later on the road, go through. I might have some new guides. I don't know if I'll ever post a healer guide because I don't play it. But a lot of tanks and DPS, I'll post guides, or I'll find someone who would post a guide. As you can see, I'm selling the last bit of gear as well. Don't need any of that. And you might be wondering, oh, well, you're missing, your chest plate and jewelry and weapon. Well, Dougal gives you boxes. So you open those boxes, look through them in your inventory, open them up, and then there you go. You will be a full 439 or 440 depending on what you equip, and at that point you're level to start your Apex quest line, which again is the next video in this series. I want to post it because I want to make this important note here. Do not enter any dungeon without your Apex skills at this point. The reason they gave us this frost metal gear was so that new players, you can just get right into the frost metal. You can go right to your Apex questline and you can unlock all of your skills. There are sets of skills for every character that you get at the end of that questline. And at this point, every dungeon has basically been conditioned to take longer if you don't have those skills. And why would you want anything to take longer? That's just silly. So, as I said, go through, equipped all your gear. I've put some roles. I'm not going to go in depth about these brawler roles here. I'll go in depth in a future video. Again, all my videos for roles and guides are just going to be basic. They're not, this is how you become the best player, this is how you become the top speedrunner of the community. No, just stuff to get you through, be able to enjoy the game, so you don't get yelled at. There's been a lot of people that have wrong roles and the community freaks out. I was one of them one time. I had healing rolls on my sword and the guy was like, you can't heal yourself, you're not a healer, why do you have healing rolls? I was like, I thought I was gonna be a solo player, I wasn't gonna play with anyone. That's not this game. This is a team game. And sure, up to now, you could do a lot of stuff yourself. Ideally, you don't want to, you shouldn't, but you can. But from this point out, once you complete that Apex quest line, It's not a team game anymore, or it's not a solo game anymore. My bad. It is a team game. You need a squad of at least 3 DPS, a tank, and a healer. Is the ideal. Of course, you can kind of change it. You can have 2 healers if one of the healers is learning. You can have 2 tanks if one of the tanks is learning. You know, but ideally, you want 1 healer, 3 DPS, and a tank. So, that's the end of the video, and for the most part, end of the level up series. Again, I'll ask one last time in this video, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Please check out any of the music. We got some awesome new music coming out. There's a Discord link that you could click on to an amazing Discord. Please join, come chat, and as always, see you around in Aboria, gamers.